Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Another exciting show, another exciting guest. Today, back by popular demand, I'm just bullshitting. We had to reschedule this beautiful young lady because she had something, she had a little cold, and now she's back all the way from Dallas, Texas. Let me tell a little bit about this lady's story real quick before we get deep. Imagine, if you will, growing up on an island in a beautiful island, Puerto Rico, then coming to the States. But just imagine, if you will, with me, if you had to stay there, for another 6 months, what would have happened? What would your life have been like? Crazy. Let's welcome to the show Miss Jeremith to tell us about that journey from Puerto Rico to the beautiful shores of the USA, Dallas. She's supposed to be in Indianapolis, but we'll let her slide with Dallas, Texas at this point. What's up, baby girl?
Hello. Well, thank you for having me today.
You sound better.
Better, but not perfect. Okay, now it's better.
You sound great.
Okay.
You sound great. Yeah, a lot better than before we try to do this. But let's get right down to it. You grew up in Puerto Rico. Beautiful, beautiful place. Tropical islands, culture. What was it like for you growing up there?
Well, I must correct a little bit. I lived in Puerto Rico for about 3 years, but I am originally from Panama. So I grew up in Panama, which is, I don't want to say that it's even better than Puerto Rico because my friends from Puerto Rico might not like what I'm saying, but it's very similar lifestyle. It's all about the food, all about gathering with the people, the family, just warm cities, both of them. They are very similar in terms of how people live. It's like living in a full-term vacation when you are in Puerto Rico, essentially. But as you mentioned, imagine I would have stayed an additional 6 months.
So where you grew up at, how did you wind up going to Puerto Rico? Was that something that you guys visited all the time, or how did that island hopping happen for you?
Right. So I used to be a flight attendant for a Panamanian airline. I was working for Copa Airlines for 5 years. And Puerto Rico was always very special to me. I was like, this is the only city in the world that I will probably even think about leaving my country. There is something very characteristic from Panamanians. We don't migrate a lot. So if we have 3 million Panamanians, most likely those 3 millions are still in Panama. We do not do a lot of migration.
Right.
So, yeah, it happens that we got the job opportunity in Puerto Rico. And it was like an easy yes, because it was the only city that I ever contemplate to move to, just because it feels like home when I'm there.
Like, okay, so just go back a minute. What's it like in Panama?
How is it like to be in Panama?
Yeah, what's it like living in Panama, growing up and being a part of that culture? Because I'm gonna tell you where we're going with this in a minute, but take us back there. I didn't grow up there. I don't know what's happening over there. What was it like for you over there?
So Panama is a very small town. Most likely, whenever you meet somebody, that person knows somebody that you may know. So your neighbors are your closest family. You're always thinking, and this is why I say today's Friday, about hitting the next Friday and having fun. What are you planning? Barbecues together, gathering together. There is always music. There is always good food. And it's all about having fun. I feel that people in Panama, we might not be economically in the position that United States has, but people are happy. you could see people how they live to just gather with others and having fun, having good music, eating well. Yeah, this is
So,
how it is to live in Panama.
so even though you was a flight attendant and visited, you know, let's stick with Puerto Rico, you got pretty much the same type of tropical environment. So why not just stay rooted where you was at?
Yes, there was a job opportunity that came out in Puerto Rico that was very good. So was the reason why we were moving to Puerto Rico. So it was just because of work. That was the only reason. And because living in Puerto Rico would have been as comfortable as being in Panama wasn't easy. Okay, let's go explore it. It's a 2 hours flight. We had 3 flights a day from Panama to Puerto Rico. So it wasn't easy. I can go back if I get homesick. So I most likely was going back to Panama every 4 months. Then I was a flight attendant, so all of my friends were coming to visit. So most likely every week I was having different flight attendants that were visiting home. So I was never really like, okay, disattached to my life in Panama. I was having an easy access to go back, multiple people visiting every quarter. So
when you wind up deciding to stay in Puerto Rico, what was that like for you when you was there? Because you got a great opportunity there, but you wind up leaving 6 months. So what was life like there for the time that you were there?
yeah, sometimes you have that type of job that move you around a little bit. So you have to, once you have a new opportunity, you get a promotion, you just have to look for the next thing to do. So it was like a temporary move to be in Puerto Rico, even though we bought an apartment in a 29th floor, which was like the second tallest building in the city. And this is why living prior to what happened in, I think it was 2016. Yes.
Now you saying we were you married at the time with children?
I was married. I'm married. Yes, I was married, and then this is why I was moving around. It was like the job opportunities for my husband that moved me a little bit around.
So was he also from Panama too?
No, he's Canadian.
Wow. So you convinced a Canadian to get married, move to.
I did not convince anyone. I got convinced first of all, and then to leave my country was a very difficult decision.
Really?
But just because it was Puerto Rico, I accepted, and yes.
So when you was there, the cultural life was the same, but when you was there, you decided to leave 6 months prior to something catastrophic happening in Puerto Rico. They got hit with the hurricane. You mentioned the word opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You left Puerto Rico for better opportunities in the States. Did I get that correct?
That's right. Yes, for better opportunities. I was actually finalizing my master's degrees in Puerto Rico because I got a student visa to move in there. However, the opportunity for me to get a job with the lifestyle that I wanted most likely would have been much more difficult in Puerto Rico. Although my husband was having his career in there, I had to restart my career, right? So it wasn't like the best place to start. I wasn't willing. I was feeling like I was already successful when I moved, and I wasn't willing to just like go down and start from the bottom. So I got the job opportunity to move to Dallas, Texas, and we got a franchise also. So we started a new business once we moved in here. So I was willing to make a transition, but to continue to grow, not to start all over again.
Let me go back and then we're going to talk about your business. I know eyesight is 2020. You know, you had no idea. But if you had to revamp, let me rephrase this. You wasn't willing to go down. You could have had the opportunity. The opportunity was there. It just wasn't. You wasn't willing to give up the lifestyle that you was accustomed to. So, had you stayed there, the job title that you had, how would that have been affected? How would that have affected you if you had stayed there during this uh, hurricane hitting that island?
I wasn't working while I was in Puerto Rico. I was doing my master degrees. And as soon as I graduated, I said, okay, we're all over. I finished the studies. Let's go to the next thing. So,
Okay.
yes. But it
So
would
you
have been
didn't have.
affected because, first of all, physically would have affected a lot. I was living in the 29th floor and it was all glass. And I know that that building was heated very strong. I have friends that I had a friend that was my closest friends when I was living there. We were at the university together. I never heard back from her. And I still write on her Facebook wall. I still try to write to other people that knows her. Every single person that she had as a connection in Facebook, I wrote and I never heard back from her. I don't know what happened. So that is what would have been the worst, the physical
Wow.
devastation, right?
So you come to
Yeah, I come to
the United States and you land in Dallas, but you go to Dallas to create a mission. Tell me about that mission and what you are doing now with your business, because I think it's beautiful what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, I arrived here and I say, okay, I'm living in the United States. I was not as confident as I am today, right? So language, although I spoke English before, I make fun of myself that I haven't improved a bit in the last 10 years. Although I already spoke English, I was not as confident to go for a job opportunity. To start from zero in a new country that doesn't feel like home. It's not like Puerto Rico. We are talking about United States, Texas. It's totally different. And I went to do something that it was easy because before leaving Puerto Rico, I was working in a TV production. So I work as an extra, as a stand, and I was doing different type of small jobs as an actress in Puerto Rico. And I said, okay, let me look for that I know how to do, and it's going to be an easy one. So I participated in the production of The Queen of South. Then I said, this is not what you want to do for real, unless you are the principal, right? So
Right.
let's look for real opportunities. The first job that I applied to was Chase Bank. And I said, well, I study finance. Let's try to be a banker. And I went to my job opportunity. And, as bankers, you have different type of bankers. You have the personal ones, relationship banker, private banker. And of course, I did not apply for the personal bank. I went straight to the licensed banker. And I spoke with the market director and he told me, in what language do you study? And I said, well, I study in Spanish, obviously. But I learned English at school. I went to a bilingual school. He said, well, because the license that you will need are difficult even for people that naturally speak English. So what do you think about that? And my answer was, well, I'm not afraid to study. So if it's about learning, I don't think that will be my problem. So he looked at that answer. And in a group of 10 people, I was the only one that passed the license.
What?
I'm sorry?
No, I said out of 10 people, you was the only one that passed?
I was the only one that passed, yes,
Wow.
on that group. So, and it's those like investment license and life agent and those ones, right? So I was feeling blessed, like, okay, I had the opportunity to come to the United States. My first job is to be a banker. I went through the license right away. And in 1 year, I was a top seller or the top performance banker from the whole region in Texas, and the number 7 in the whole country. So I was like, okay, I need to be thankful and grateful of everything that I have been able to achieve. And I really understand and I accept the opportunities that I have been able to that have been presented to myself. But I also have to acknowledge on the fact that I go for it. Whenever I want something, I make it happen. So I'm grateful, but I'm also proud at the same time.
So how did all of this transfer into you running and developing your own products and services and company?
So I still have that homesick feeling. I love my country. I travel probably 3 times a year to Panama, plus the additional times that I have visits. And I like that feeling of how people get together and the gatherings together, as if it were in Panama. So one Valentine's Day, I say, I want to throw like a big dancing gala. So I brought 2 singers from Puerto Rico. I built my own orchestra, and I rented the biggest room here in, like, not the biggest, but probably the most recognized and MC room. And I throw a private party with singers, orchestra, and I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, it was my first time that I do an event. People were saying, "Why don't you start small in a little restaurant?" I was like, "No, no, no! You better go big or go home." So
Okay.
I never expected the outcome that I received that day. A lot of couples, people from different cultures. I was like, how am I gonna be able to manage people that doesn't speak English but they like the music, and the other one that only speak English, and then bringing all of these people together throughout the music and providing the food and all of that. But it was amazing. That was so good that I have been doing probably 3 additional events after that first one. So beside my full-time job, I am running this, and I received plenty of requests of people like, help me organize an event, but I haven't done it outside for others. It's where I'm looking forward. But yeah, this year my last event was Valentine's again, and it was pretty awesome.
Like, all that just stemmed because you was missing home and you decided, it sounds crazy, right? But sometimes the greatest things that come to our mind usually comes from some of the craziest ideas. So when you shot this idea to your partner, what was his take? Like, hey girl, you got a great job in banking. Leave that, what was his take on this?
Oh no, that was a tough one. That was a tough sell. It was a very tough sell to make this thing happen. But at the end, he was like, okay, I'm gonna support you. I don't have a different choice, so he decided to support me, and then I have been doing much more events. So at the beginning, it was like, okay, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? You're bringing singers. Like, singers comes with managers, and you have to build an orchestra. Like, you see that what you are doing, there's people that have been doing this for years.
Right.
And then you come up and you say, no, I can be an event planner, organizer, executive producer, and all of it. And then I had to do the marketing, have to do the sales and the content, the videos, everything. I had to do it on my own. Obviously, I would not start hiring people to do so. So yeah, it was a little bit of a crazy idea, but the outcome was wonderful.
So what's been and I like the fact that you came on to tell your story, because when people come on the show, it's not always about trauma. It's beautiful stories like yourself. Here it is. You're happily married. You got a great career. And you decided, you know what? I still want to do something else that makes me feel a little closer to home, but to still give something back to the people, because you also providing job opportunities too, right, with this new business venture. What has been the biggest struggle so far? Because this is something new. I know what you just said. You either go big or go home. But, at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur, there is some struggles to get the plane to land the right way. What has been some of the struggles for you?
Well, obviously, starting with a big event like this, really not knowing the market. The first one, I would not say the outcome was amazing, but it was financially a little bit difficult. I didn't get to where I had to. And then people will have think like, okay, she's not gonna do anything else after what happened. And I said, no, this is like, if I don't do anything with what happened, then it's a failure. I have to take what I did, all the content. People are happy. People are looking forward to a second event, and I have to continue to build on top of it. So it was a struggle, the first one. However, I tend to be very optimistic, and I tend to be like, okay, I'm grateful that it went up. It turned out to be good and people liked it. This is kind of like attitude that I will always take things on. So I said, I'm going to continue to build above of what I already did. So the second event that I did, it was more like cultural one, and I brought mainly Panamanians to a watch game. So to watch a game, to a watch party, if we can call it that way. So for the FIFA classification. So I went to a bar and I say, I can bring you all the people that you need to have a successful night. What do you offer? And I try to sell it as well to this new bar. And that one, I was like, okay, having much more people that I can really fit onto the place. And it was amazing because I was giving that to my own community. Everybody that was there most likely were Panamanian. There were a little bit of other guests, that friends of friends or people that went to the bar. And then I had the live music, DJ. It was a very amazing night.
Now, how do you transition your company's growth potential to go outside the box? Because a lot of it so far has been geared around the Panamanian culture, so how do you take it to the next level to incorporate the Latinos? You're in Texas, you have Latinos, Mexicans, blacks. I mean, you have an array of different people. So how do you shift to be competitive with all of these different cultures and still keep your dream of having a successful event planner, coordinator, CEO? Dang, that's a lot of information.
Well, the first one was mainly for Latinos, not really Panamanians. Most likely 30% of the guests were Panamanians on the first one. So it wasn't the transition. Obviously, there is no transition there. Everybody was mainly Latino or Hispanic. Then the second one was a watch game, a watch party for a FIFA game. So it was Panamanians and people from Guatemala, because we were playing against Guatemala that day. So this third one, I changed all the marketing. I changed all the material, and I didn't make it Latino. So I had a band, the same band that I built with a great friend. He's a trumpet master of the Dallas Symphony. So we work together. And now this band is super successful. He recruits the best musicians in town. So I tell people this is a great experience. It's quality music, right? So the music that we play on this last edition of Amor en Rhythm, this is the name of it. It was the American classics with some as well Latino music. So it was a mix of both cultures, and I was having a very diverse group of people that attend to the event. But it is difficult because you see, okay, I have African American, I have people from the Middle East, I have the Latinos, and then I was making the DJ crazy, like, you have to make sure that you put different type of music. I know the Latinos are dancing, but they will dance whatever you play, even the commercials. So don't focus on them. Let's move around. It was difficult, but it was like, oh my gosh, how do I make everybody feel welcome into this room? So yeah, it's just about how you pass the message, how do you create the content, how you make the marketing.
You know what? I can tell just by talking to you right now. You enjoy this shit.
I love it.
I heard we talked about your corporate job. I didn't get no, hurrah. That was just you worked. Yeah, it was just like you got a degree and that's a job. But I think with what you're creating now, I think it's a different mind shift for you because it brings a little bit of that creativity and that longing for home and culture
Oh yes,
back to you where you're at. What's your take on that?
I love it. I love it. I mean, like, I have my best friend. I mean, the first of my events, I probably had 15 people that traveled from Panama to attend to my event. And I said, you guys are giving me more job because I have to take care of you, be a host, and also take care of my event. No, but I'm making this is lovely. Right? I'm making fun of it. My parents came to my first events, both of them. My mom was great support, even financially. She was helping a lot with everything because she also likes like the decoration and doing the gatherings. So everybody enjoyed so much. My best friends came. I mean, I had many people that came to support, and I love it. I feel that I am the host. I receive every person, and I learn everybody that buy a ticket. So when people arrive, I already search for their picture on Facebook if there is one, if it's easy to accept. And a lot of people, I welcome them by name, like, thank you for coming in here, Andrea. They're like, how do you know? I was like, okay, I see every person that buy a ticket and I try to put a name on a face. I have assigned seats. I dance with most of them. I was like, hey, do you want to dance? Even if I see that they don't dance, I bring them over. I dance with the girls on that night. So I try to make it look like it's a home party, like if it's family together. So I write a note to everybody that I attended. I send them pictures, professional that our photographer takes. So I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to build people that say, I want to go back to the events that this girl is presenting because they're fun and makes me
Now,
feel welcome. And I love
and
it,
this
each part of it.
and this is funny because people that are listening will be like, okay, you bust your ass to be corporate America, to do this in banking, and you don't want 1 out of 10 that passes this test. Why not just be happy with corporate America, having a husband, the beautiful penthouse? Now why go here?
And I must say that I haven't been a banker for a couple of years. That was my first job. And after 2 years and a half, I left. People were like, are you crazy? Like, you are a successful banker. You have a career. You can be a financial advisor. You can continue. And I say,
Right.
I love it. I'm proud of what happened. I know that it has been a great opportunity, but I need to find something that makes me feel happy. I want to have a bigger title. Um, I want to have a job where I travel. I, I don't want, I was working opening to close almost every single day at the bank. Saturdays, so Monday to Saturday, I didn't want to take time off. I didn't want to take lunches. And it's not that my boss was requiring me to do that. I wanted to be successful, so I was working a lot. So I say, I want a different experience. I want to be now not working with personal banking. I want to work with corporate, that a corporation is my client. So I reach out to a sales director of the next company and I say, I know you don't have an opening, but we may talk about something and an opportunity. Once it's open, then we can discuss. So we went for a coffee and I said, I cannot leave my job right now because there is a ranking for the bankers and I wanted to close the ranking and finish first, right? So I said, but I can move in 4 months. Let's reconnect in 4 months and then see if you have something available. And this is exactly how it happened. 4 months after, I said, now I can move. Do you have anything open? And he gave me the opportunity and he kind of, I remember for the first 3 weeks, I didn't have a client or nothing because I got a job without really having job. So they were kind of thinking, shall we really give the opportunity to this girl? And
Right.
shall we move important clients to her book? Because the clients there were like Visa, MasterCard,
Right.
JP Morgan Chase. So I showed them that I was the right fit, and then they give me the big accounts.
When you decided to make the shift to leave the bank and start your own business, you had support. A lot of people would be like, that's a Cinderella story, but you already have a supporting cast. What do you tell the individual that here's your story that really don't have that supporting cast, that don't have those other opportunities, but want to have the same ideal as what you do? What would you tell somebody like that?
I mean, you have to trust yourself, trust your gut, make it happen. If the worst that can happen, well, a lot of things can go wrong. I know, financially or in any other way. But if you believe in yourself, and I like to say a lot, like fake it until you make it. You just have to make it happen. At the beginning, probably it might not go the way that you are looking for, but you have to be open to learn. I have had amazing mentors in my life. I try to have bigger ears than the mouth. So I listen to other people that have something that can teach me, and I work hard. I mean, if it's something doesn't go well, you have to learn from it and then turn the page and continue. And this is how life it is. It's not what happens to you, but what you do with what happens. So.
And the reason I said that is pretty simple, because I'm getting ready to explain the reason why that question was addressed. Because you have created a system to help individuals who may not have the leverage to get to where you're at or somebody else, but still have that ambition. Tell me about that.
People that do not have the leverage or the ambitions, this is what you said?
Yeah, because your program, you was talking about a program that you guys have with helping people to elevate, careers and being entrepreneurs and so forth.
Yeah, and I can say a very good example to your question. The thing that I enjoyed the most is that I have that, and a friend of mine used to call me that I am her battery person, her energy person, to transmit that into others and build on their own confidence as well.
Right.
And the good example is my friend that is the trumpet master of the Dallas Symphony, Elmer, that now has his orchestra that is called Groove Sinfonico. I told him, I'm throwing this big event and I want you to create this orchestra because you are one of the only musicians that I know. You are a great musician, and I'm sure that you have that drive. You're so responsible. You can make it happen. And he told me, I have always wanted to build my orchestra, but I have never been having the guts to do it. And I said, well, now I'm giving you the stage, and you're going to play for famous artists, and you're going to make it happen. And I'm going to help you to create your company. I'm going to help you in any way or shape that is needed, but we are going to make this thing happen together. I know it's my first event also, so I'm asking a lot, but we are going to create something good. And I mean, I think that he has been probably more successful than me in business-wise, but I feel a level of proudness just that I give him that little push to make it happen. And this is, maybe you don't have somebody close at your home or on your own place that can help you, but it could be a friend. It could be somebody from outside. Like, will just give you that little hint that you just have to take it.
Before we wrap up, what's next for you? No, let me do another question. Let me go another question before we wrap up. Let me figure out how I want to say this. You've been blessed with a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
They've come at your door and you've allowed a lot of the other opportunities to walk out the door. It takes guts to follow your dream, because when you follow your dreams, it's not always paved with a silver lining or gold bricks. With all that said, what's the end game for you? What's your purpose? What's the end game for you?
My A game. I mean, I want to continue to build on this business of bringing people together to make it successful. I don't see only the financial part of it. I see how people feel in my events. And I know that the financial will come as long as the people continue to have a good experience in what I do. So to make this thing happen as my full-time job is what I'm looking for. My boss might not like what I just said, but she normally says to me, and it is funny. She says, one day you would just write and you're gonna say, I'm in Hollywood, or I am into something big and crazy, because this is who you are. So it's not only that I see myself doing that, it's what people see, the perception of the people, like, you're gonna finish doing XYZ just because you have that drive and you have that creative. So I need to believe also what people are telling me. So I'll say that to continue to bring my signature events as a full-time business is my A game.
Wow. Before we close, what's the name of the business? What services do you have? And how can they reach out to you to know more about what you have to offer?
The name is JC Signature Events. Those are my initials. And signature events because I do from Valentine galas, dinner, watch party. I'm thinking now in some sport as well. It's coming, the FIFA as well coming, so a lot more watch parties. So whatever type of events, you have a corporate business and you need to throw an event for your employees, appreciation week or whatever, I can definitely help you create an event. So everywhere in Instagram or Facebook, my email, they are all about JC Signature Events. Website as well, jcsignatureevents.com.
You know what? Thank you so much for taking time out to come and share such a beautiful story. And we love highlighting stories like this when, you're already a career woman, but you decided, you know what, I'm going to take it further. I want to own my own. I want to be the difference. I want to do something. I want to make my dreams become a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe, click, like, follow. Sometimes all it takes is a click of one button to make a difference in somebody else's life or change yours. Baby girl, love to have you come back on the show. Keep us posted on all the events that you got coming up. We'll be more than happy to post them on the I Am Beast Network. Ladies and gentlemen, like always, this has been another, and I do mean another, exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.